And that also is a toll on a person, because we are social beings. So if you're not doing well socially, again, that is a mental health issue.
And this reminds me of some parents who've had issues with some relatives who actually do not embrace these children. And that parent has to make a decision of not visiting some of the relatives who actually don't embrace their children. And this reminds me again of probably venues like churches that think a child that has tantrums issues is about behavior, and they'll call the parent and say, hey, we don't think we're going to allow your child in this particular space because he does not fit in. Mm-hmm. And so as a parent, you have to look for a different church. You have to look for a different school where your child can fit in. You have to look for different friends who actually are going to embrace this particular new challenge. And I think we've always looked at changing things for the child, how that affects the child. We never look at the caregiver.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that goes on, it doesn't stop there. And I think that's why people need to talk more about it, because there's, apart from that isolation, so here you are, you have a child who you cannot take to certain places. People have started looking at you differently, and they feel you're a burden, right? And so you're feeling a bit isolated. But also probably feeling guilty because, you bring out a child. I mean, we are both parents, and when you have a child, it's something everyone looks forward to. Mm-hmm. It opens a whole horizon of pleasure, and, you think of how you're going to, some people are dreaming on how they're wearing matching T-shirts or something,
Yes.
The thinking of the children's graduation.
Yes.
And here you are, you brought a child who's going to be ostracized. I think while we can see that effect on children, mm-hmm. as a mother, for example, I cannot imagine the pain of having my child being pushed away all the time by society. That in itself is an added pain that comes with it, and a bit of guilt, because you feel in some way you're responsible. People actually do feel responsible for having brought children and feel like somehow they have to blame for their children not being considered, normal or able to fit in.
Right, and it reminds me, I had to reflect a lot. I thought I had done something terrible for me to have a child that was autistic. I remember I was in tears when my child was hit with a broom by a shopkeeper, simply because he went to touch something that was quite colorful and he needed to play with it. So this guy comes out of the shop and with a big broom and hits my child. And I'm thinking, this child cannot talk back, cannot fight back. And he's young, I think he was around 6 years. And I thought by the time he reaches 40, the things that he'll have gone through, I felt tortured as a parent and as a caregiver.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's true. So, and I think this pain is something, that you have to deal with every single day, mm-hmm. and every single time your child meets a challenge, because, well, the way the world works, there's no way your child can be kept in the house forever.
Right.
They will have to interact. And so watching a child go through those challenges, mm-hmm. is definitely, it has an emotional toll on a parent. And if a parent is not careful and they're not taking some good self-care or having a support system, that can even lead to other complications, whether it is health-wise or mental health-wise, that has some repercussions.
Because I know stress leads to depression, and depression leads to other things.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of loss in this.
Yes, there's a lot of loss. You lose, it's grief. And I'm looking at it from a mother's perspective, mm-hmm. that when you lose that dream of what your child was going to go through, that's still a loss. And people don't talk about it because you feel selfish, because you tell somebody, I'm feeling bad because I didn't have the child that I wanted, right? And while that might sound selfish, it's a normal thing, right? Because you are losing the kind of mother you even wanted to be, or a kind of parent. You are losing the dreams you had for your child. You're losing the happiness you wanted for your child. And that happens every day. You see your child who is having to undergo the struggles. So there's a lot of everything changes. You lose yourself.
Right.
So you have to let go of who you wanted to be.